Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Can you hear me? Can you hear me okay? Everyone okay? Yeah, okay. Welcome, everyone, to our monthly staff meeting for September 2018. Yes. So my name is David Alamillo, and the reason I'm up here so early this month is because a lot of our executives or leadership are away doing other things today. And so they've asked that the Second Street Operations Committee help to lead the meeting. And I happen to currently be the chair of the Second Street Operations Committee. So welcome, everyone, and thanks for being here. And also, hello and welcome. Thank you for coming to all our folks on Zoom today. Hope you can hear me. You're welcome to use the chat and feedback feature if you want to kind of plug in and tie in with us. But otherwise, welcome, and let's go ahead and get started, everyone. So like we do every other month, we wanted to go ahead and start off with UC A&R in action. Actually, before I go too far, we do have three kind of main topical areas every month: UC A&R in action, our updates, and our learning section. So for UC A&R in action, again, like every month, why do we get together? Why do we hold these meetings? Why do we meet? Of course, we want to celebrate each other, celebrate our achievements. We want to meet our new faces, meet each other, get to know each other, inspire, laugh, build a sense of team. We always have a safety topic. We try to talk about health and wellness. And we want to receive information, announcements from our leadership, from others and various units. And again, always, we are all part of something. We are part of something bigger, and part of a community, of course. So your efforts all matter, of course, and thank you for being here. So the first thing we have is part of our UC A&R in action is a video, and Joan's gonna present.
Hi everyone, I'm Joan Taylor Warren. We're going to present a video today. It'll be pretty self-explanatory once it comes up. There'll be questions and tests after the video, so pay attention.
Around the UC Hopland Research and Extension Center, look at this charred tree right behind me. I talked to the director. He explained just how intense it was when the fire climbed the mountain.
And I came around the top side of it, and the fire was there less than a half mile in front of me. So I immediately turned around because embers were already starting to fall.
When the river fire involved in the Mendocino complex started to burn out of control on July 27th, it was headed right for the UC Hopland Research and Extension Center. That's when the center's director, John Bailey, started to evacuate residents and various animals along the property.
It took about 2.5, 3 hours by the time we got them all out.
Very strong fear that night about what was going to happen.
The UC Research Center has been tucked away in the foothills of Mendocino County for over 65 years, and the river fire ended up burning about 2/3 of the center's nearly 5,400 acres.
We lost a bunch of corrals and fence lines and some research buildings out on the site.
While it looked as though their research was burnt to the ground, Bailey says they quickly came to the realization that they can use the charred land for new research.
So this gives scientists a great opportunity to look at how are we going to adapt our land management practices to the new reality of large-scale wildfires in the state of California.
It's changed from that terror to great hope about how we can be of use in the future.
It's the optimism for new
But the dog was found, right?
Yes,
Yes.
the dog was found.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So do you recognize, come on, screen. Uh-oh. There's a little bit of a delay. UC A&R personnel in the news clip. So of course it was pretty obvious John Bailey is the center director. Anyone else? Yeah. You're up ready for me. Okay, so John Bailey, Mark Lagramini. Did anybody spot Mark? Anyhow, he was there standing with John and the reporter and Hannah. And then Hannah Bird, who is our Hopland community educator. So, does anyone notice an important communication message missing from the clip? Who said that? Belinda, you're right. It's UC A&R because we're part of the University of California, but A&R needs to be in there too. So whenever you're messaging, whenever you're printing, try and include the UC A&R for our branding. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Joe. Great message in that clip though, right? Turning that tragedy into hope.
Right,
so, yeah.
Right.
And to further kind of our message of A&R in action and getting to know each other, new places, new faces, we wanted to talk about Project Learning Tree. And Sandy Derby's here. If you don't know Sandy, she's actually a resident of this building at least a few times a month, right? So let's welcome Sandy, and she's going to talk to us about Project Learning Tree.
Great, thank you. Can I do it without that here? No.
So I think it's for the folks on the Zoom.
Okay. If I drop it, it'll hurt their ears, right?
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, is this all right? I'm not used to a microphone. So as the slide says, my name is Sandy Derby. How many of you recognize me? Good. And how many before that slide knew my name? Fewer. How many know Project Learning Tree? Hey, that's pretty good. That's good. So Mark invited me to participate in this. So thank you, Mark. Thank you, everybody. He wanted it interactive, and it's 10 minutes. That's tricky. But I want to go through, I think, 3 slides real quick to give you essential information, the basic kind of who I am and what Project Learning Tree does. And then I have several activities if we can get through them. So to bring you up to speed, a little bit of history. Project Learning Tree has been around for several years. It started in the 70s with the Western Regional Environmental Education Council. They realized in the 70s that we were impacting our environment, which is kind of amazing that we hadn't thought of that before the 70s. But the American Forest Foundation put curriculum material together to essentially, this is our mission, to teach students how to think, not what to think. It's inquiry-based learning, it's critical thinking, and it's all outdoors in the forest. PLT uses forests as the window to the world. After that material was so successful in bringing environmental education into teaching, there was the move to do Project Wild, which is wildlife. Same kind of format, same sort of delivery. And then after that, technical difficulties behind me. Sorry for those people that are just listening. So after PLT, there was Wild, that was wildlife. After wildlife, there was Project Wet. How many have heard of either of those other? Wild and Wet. We're one big happy family. The way it works is really there's a state coordinator, and the coordinator works with a network of people to deliver the program. I work with foresters, science professionals, researchers, scientists in the field, educators, nature center directors, all kinds of people. And it's really providing professional development so that educators teach science a little better and get students outside. So the teaching students how to think, not what to think, is our motto. And the next slide. So who we are. In the 70s, PLT was housed in CAL FIRE. It has always been supported by CAL FIRE and continues to be supported by CAL FIRE. But when they hired, 5 years ago, they hired me and we transitioned into UC A&R. I am a product of UC, and so it sort of made sense. I feel like I've gone full circle and come back home. But the idea was to put us in a place where we could really expand and work with other statewide programs and collaborate. So that was where A&R came in. The statewide programs that I work most closely with are the California Naturalist Program, of course, and California 4-H. And we are just getting our feet moving on those 2 programs. In 2018, we had several different projects and pilots
where I was working with 4-H staff and 4-H leadership and 4-H youth, and then also working with some of our CalNat courses. So that was really great. All of those VIPs are very essential to the network in California. And our goal was really to expand PLT, but also to expand and support all those other programs as well. And then right now, the partnerships that I'm working with in A&R are 4-H and the Naturalist program. A couple of the highlights I wanted to share, wanted to push a little bit of this, is our summer camp programs for 4-H. We've been in Santa Clara, and we have 5 other counties that are interested in having Project Learning Tree activities integrated into their summer camp. And then also for our CalNat courses, we've been in 5 different courses so far, where those California naturalists, they do a capstone project that has to do with Project Learning Tree material. They participate in a mini workshop where they get to do the activities, and they also do some of the activities throughout their course. So we're figuring out ways to make a collective impact with those 3 programs. All right, enough of that. Phew. So now a little demonstration. I picked out 3 activities that are sort of across the board for PLT, and I wanted to kind of demonstrate and get you guys involved. Like Mark said, we want this interactive. So I need a few volunteers that want to do some calisthenics. Don't be shy. It's not really calisthenics, it's you just have to bend over. 1, 2. Really? Come on. Thank you. It's okay, because we only have 10 minutes. Anybody else? Really? Last chance? You're going to want to do this. Come on up. Okay. We're going to line up against the wall, our volunteers. Well, it's not really that competitive competition. I have now made these people into trees. Can you tell? One leg has to be rooted. The other one you can move. And you're going to have to pick up some things that I'm going to sprinkle on the ground. But don't go until I say start. No, your roots have to be your roots. So choose whether you want to be right-footed or left-footed. And then ready, set, go. Okay, you're up. Up. Tree next to the boy. I know. All right. So looking at what you have in your hand. So what our trees have are different colored tilly wings. How many have yellow? Oops, I'm supposed to be using this. Everybody have yellow? Yes. How many? Anyone more than 3? Okay. Okay. Good. So what do you think yellow stands for? Right. So here's a strand of trees. The things that trees, Sarah, the things that trees need to thrive are what we're looking at. And so where do you think this particular tree might be in this strand when it has more yellow than anyone else? Right, tallest or on the edge or whatever. Good. What might be, how many do you have? 2 yellow. Okay, so just 2 yellow. What do you think is happening with that tree? All right, let's be nice, folks. She's in the shade. Is that necessarily a bad thing? No. Right. Exactly. The species of the tree is going to dictate whether she's happy. Are you happy? Okay, perfect. Okay, what about blue? Anybody more than 3 blues? A little hot over there, taking everything. 4. Okay, we got 4. So this tree has more water than the average bear. Where do you think this tree is? Yeah, maybe the creek's running right through here. Okay, it's got his water. And a particular species like sycamore might be thrilled to have their roots in water all the time. What about green? 2, 4, 2, 2. What do you think green stands for? Are you finance? The nutrients, phosphorus, nitrogen, the nutrients in the soil. So receiving the nutrients that they need. All of this opens up discussions to what trees need to survive. What about red? Anyone pick up a red? What do you think red might be?
Infestation.
Could be fire, could be infestation, all of the threats to our forests, opening up the discussion of what we need to do. And I never want to end on that sort of note. So how about purple? Anybody get a purple? Nice. Purple are the environmental educators, the California naturalists, the people who know a little better and can come in and manage the forest. Thank you very much. If you can pick up children. And then while they're doing that, I have triangles at the end of those tables. If you could take one of the green squares and pass it that way. Good. Thank you so much, trees, my tree people. That's an actual company in San Diego. Thank you, tree people. While we're getting those green papers passed across the room, how am I doing time? Who's watching me? No one. I'll be quick. While we're getting the green papers distributed, everybody should end up with one green paper. So once you have yours, pass it on. So that what we just did was every tree for itself, understanding the conditions of what trees need. The second one here that I want to talk about, I don't think we're gonna do this, is the carbon cycle, understanding where carbon is and how the carbon cycle affects us. So on the edges here, you're lucky enough to be near a single page and there's dice. So go ahead and take your turn, roll the dice, and I'm gonna ask you in a second where you ended up. So what we do at these, I did this particular activity at State Scientist Day. It's a real quickie and it engages people that are just walking by because they see that brightly colored dice and everybody wants to roll it. So let's start at the back of the room. Where are you? And what's the title of number 3? Well, but where are you? What's the title of the card? So I got it. You are a fallen log. And then when you rolled the dice, you got a number 3. And what happens then? Okay, so you turn into firewood. Which station do you go to? Let's. Okay, so you stay where you are. Certain stations are going to take you to a different location. Yeah, sorry, you're doing 2 activities at once. Certain stations are going to take you to a different place, and sometimes you're going to get stuck. So you're staying at Fallen Log. Where are you? What does it say at the top? You are a tree, another tree. And you rolled the dice, and what'd you get? And what does 4 tell you to do? A wood product. Where's the wood product person? Okay, great. Now we're moving. You rolled. What'd you get? Okay, and what do you have to do? Stay. You're stuck. Let's take another one. Would you like to be an animal? So we can all do that. Exhale, all that carbon. And where did you go? Atmosphere. Where's our atmosphere? Okay. You're in the atmosphere, carbon in the atmosphere. Remember, carbon is in all these different places. Roll the dice. Stay in the atmosphere. And this is one thing, I'm glad we got to atmosphere. Did I miss anybody? I think I might have missed one station. Oh, good. I'm glad we entered the atmosphere because this is where everybody gets stuck. What's happening with all the carbon that's ending up in the atmosphere? We know that's our challenge right now. We know that this is happening because a lot of those steps are going to end up at atmosphere. When you do this with a group of people moving around the room, going from station to station, Bottleneck always at atmosphere. Good. So that's an example of our carbon cycle. This is one of our newest activities that are part of our online materials. Last activity, and then I'm done. Do I still have time? 2 minutes? Okay, maybe some examples. We'll make this one a race, okay? Everybody has a card. Who knows what the fire triangle is? The little green card that you have, okay? We know fire triangle, fire triangle. Can anyone share what it is? Fuel, oxygen, and heat. You need those 3 things, right? Okay, you only have 1 green card. Let's see who can get a fire triangle formed first. You gotta move around possibly, get moving. Raise your. Okay. Excellent. Now, can I have the team, though, the 3 of you come up? Because not all the little green cards say the same thing, and you'll probably catch on to this as we talk about it, but every one of those cards, whether it's oxygen or heat or fuel, there's a different type. So what do we have here exactly? What are the specifics of this fire? And we'll judge whether it's a catastrophic, whether it's manageable, whether it's...
So I'm oxygen,
no wind.
I am fuel. Fire burned here 10 years ago. Little fuel goes up.
Oh.
I'm heat. Sparks for road repair equipment. Air temperature is 90 degrees.
Okay, so do we have a fire? Would you say without wind? We've got a fire starting, but what's going to happen to it? It's going to die out. It doesn't have those 3. Did we have another set of 3? Oh, we almost did. Okay, we're gonna call it quits to honor the time. Thank you very much, everybody. A little bit of taste with you. Thank you, David.
Thank you, Sandy. That was fun. Okay, so next up, just continuing with our UC A&R in action, we have our Ergo Minute.
How's time? I'll go as fast as I can. I'm really excited. I get to pretend I'm Huell Hauser. Does anyone know who Huell Hauser is? He's my hero. So an ergo moment, for those people who aren't familiar with this is where we interrupt our regularly scheduled meeting to move. So could you advance the slide? Cool. So people are asking me, there's some new wisdom on this. You have a sit-stand desk. Should you sit or should you stand? Should you sit or should you stand? Yeah. The answer is you should stand up every 20 minutes. So one of the things is it's not healthy to sit there all day, but it's also not healthy to stand there all day. So the wisdom is now that it's not how long you stand there, but how many times you stand up during the day. So forward to the next slide, please. Oh, yes, and this is a really great study, that thing, you'll have the slide here, but this is all based on patterns of sedentary behavior and mortality in US middle-aged and older adults, a national cohort study. So what we're going to go through here now is standing up and sitting down. It can be a very dangerous prospect, and I just wanted to review how you stand up and sit down. I mean, you laugh, but a lot of mishaps happen by mistakes people make when they stand up and sit down. So we are going to practice standing up and sitting down. Oh, thank you, Dave. Yeah, no, I'm good. Oh, actually, would you be my model? Oh. Super. So, yeah, that'll be classic for the whole state now on a recording. Maybe we can alter that. So anyways, when you're standing up, the first thing you want to do, so you guys can follow along, is you want to move to the edge of your chair. So you want to move your rear end to the edge of the chair. Make sure both of your feet are placed firmly on the floor. Are you guys all got that? Now activate your core. So that means the easiest way to achieve this is to squeeze your gluteus maximus or your rear end, or whatever you want to call it that's not obscene like the word I misspoke earlier. But anyways, so you're sitting here with your feet on the ground. You activate your core by squeezing your rear end. And then you're going to lean forward. So lean your weight forward till your head's over your toes, and then straighten your legs. And you should just rise straight up. Now, I don't know if some people may have trouble with that, and you can use the arms of the chair. So, okay, I didn't tell you how to sit down yet, so you got to keep standing there. So there's other directions there for using the arms of the chair, but I would encourage you to try not using the arms of the chair because you'll get a workout with your core and your legs. You can reach forward, but basically the key is leaning your weight forward and then just straightening your legs out. So not pulling yourself out of the chair. So the next slide is to sit down. Now we're going to sit down. So similar to that, you put your back to the seat. Make sure the seat is behind you and your back is to it. That's especially important when you're getting in and out of car seats. How many of you are actually have your back to the car seat when you sit in it? So getting in cars sideways is a way to injure yourself. So your back is to the seat. Go back to the seat till your back of your legs touch the seat so you know where it's at. So now that you're touching the chair and you know where it's at, activate your core. So squeeze your rear end and kind of activate your core. And then you want to do the same thing. Lean forward and reach your rear end out. And then just keep lowering yourself until you sit down on the chair. So did everyone get that? Yeah. So I'm going to go over a few little points. So next slide, please. Safety tips. So remember activating your core. One of the ways people say, I don't know what happened. I just stood up and my back went out. Usually it's because they got up without thinking or they weren't stable when they got up. So both feet should be on the ground. A very good way to put your back out, getting in and out of vehicles, of cars. When you're getting in the car, and there's a picture in the slide, put your back to the seat, sit down in the seat with both feet on the ground, and then pivot inside if you have back issues. It's very easy to twist yourself and injure yourself getting in and out of cars. Watch out for rolling chairs. Always sit square in the seat with the seat behind you. Also, don't rely on tables or anything to pull you out of the seat. We often have accidents where people are sitting in front of a table and they reach for the table and pull the table down on themselves. So it's good for your core, good for your legs to practice getting up and out of chairs without using things in front of you. If you need the brace, use the arms of the chair or the edge of the chair. And let's see, also focus your attention, your awareness, your breath, so you don't twist and injure yourself. And if you practice this regularly, you will gain core strength and leg strength, and it's really good for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Melinda. Make sure to come back next month for twerking. Okay, so now our leadership corner. And I guess from that statement, you don't often see my name associated with leadership, right? But we'll go with it today. So Joan and I have a couple of leadership updates for you.
So the first couple are from Wendy, and Wendy would like to let everyone know that we're thrilled to see the number of counties joining the monthly staff meetings and hope that that continues to increase. This approach really helps to remind us that we are one division despite the distance between offices.
And also from Wendy, the A&R task force continues to do its work. It looks like they may be finished before March. Overall, we are pleased with the decisions that have been made to date. These include no change in reporting line for the vice president, and we will remain as a unit within the office of the president. There is a discussion underway on how to best distinguish the UCA&R budget from the administrative functions of the office of the president. If you recall, the combining of budgets has caused the interpretation of the OP budget to be bloated because of our academic efforts that have not yet been separated. There is also a discussion underway about adding a new advisory group that will consult with UCA&R and advise the president. Representation would include campuses, stakeholders, the academic senate, and UCA&R academics. Our goal is that this group helps strengthen relationships with other UC campuses and understanding by the academic senate of future values of UCA&R. That was a long one.
That was a long one. So in addition, a search for a new director of communications will be underway soon. Thanks to Jim Downing for agreeing to chair the search. And thanks to all who have provided input directly or indirectly on that position. Wendy went out and as developing the position description, got input from a lot of different groups. So that was really important.
And a shout out to the development services team, which is gearing up for their annual giving campaign and have had several recent successes. Hopefully many of you had the chance to learn from Scott and Rob during the webinar Thursday Cafe, which was earlier today at noon, about how this team can help all of us throughout A&R in our funding efforts.
How many were able to tune into the webinar, Kim? Yeah? Yeah. Okay, great.
One more thing. And an FYI on the time commitment of those involved in UC Path, as much as 4 days per week through November. It's a huge time commitment for those directly involved and already have full plates, of course, but may lead to some leniency and understanding needed by those of us not directly involved.
So this update is from Glenda this morning. She wants everyone to know that next week I will have an hour to provide info to several new regents during their orientation. This is a part of a larger effort to ensure that UC leadership and other policymakers better understand the UC A&R programs and the importance of its mission. So she'll have one-on-one with the new regents, which is really, really, really important. Thanks, Glenda.
Yes. And effective immediately, David Alamillo promote what? Okay, so now moving on, we have an update from Lachey for staff assembly. Lachey. What?
Oh, yes, I'll do that too. Hi, everybody. So, here I am. So I'm Lachey McGill. I am the senior CUCSA delegate this year. So this is my second year serving as a member of the CUCSA delegate team. I just wanted to share that earlier this month, A&R hosted our first ever CUCSA quarterly meeting. And I think I shared with you last time that we wanted to hold it here at Davis, but Davis has rights here. So we chose South Coast Rec, and it was early this month, like I said, the 5th through the 7th, and it turned out really, really well. This was my first time there to South Coast Rec, and so it's really rustic, like I said last time, and there's a photo of the entrance. We had 4 speakers. We had Darren Haver, that's him there on the left. He talked about his research, and we had John Fox, who is the executive director of HR, talk. We had Mark Bell talk, and then we also had Neve Quinn, who is a human wildlife advisor down there. And so she has some really cool research, and even as an employee, I did not know all the things that she was doing. So it turned out really, really well. And then on the right, there is the CUCSA leadership team. While we were there, Tammy Majerick, she is I think she's a community education specialist, and then that's Grant Johnson over on the far left. He gave us a tour of the greenhouses down there at South Coast Rec, and then the other 2 photos are of the youth garden down there. It's a root viewing box, and I thought that was pretty cool. And they've got, like I said, a lot of cool research going on down there. Then here is just some other plants, pictures that I took. I can't remember how much of the landscape is runs off recycled water, but I do know that it's a very, very large percentage, which is pretty awesome. So anyway, as I mentioned, I am the senior CUCSA delegate this year, and so this year we have two groups that we're working on, and one of them is addressing parental leave policies, and the other is succession planning. So the parental leave policy is looking at care.com and some of the offerings that we have currently through the UC, parental leave, maternity leave in terms of I think one of the things that came up is that, you know, a lot of us that are actually giving birth or adopting or what have you have to use up our sick time before our insurance kicks in when we go on leave. And that is a hot button issue. And a lot of people are having trouble with that because when they return back to work, they have a new baby and no time. So we're looking at that. And I'm not part of the parental leave policy group, but those are some of the things that we're addressing. they're addressing. And then we have the succession planning group. And so I'm not sure if you guys know this either, but 37% of our workforce at UC is retiring within the next 5 years, which is a very, very large percentage. And so my group, which is the succession planning group, I'm the co-chair, is going to be looking at attrition, retention, and ultimately succession, because that's more than a third of our workforce that will be leaving in 5 years, and we don't currently have a plan, and we need one. So just to give you those two updates, and those are things that we're going to be working on, doing research all throughout the year, and then at the end of the year we create a white paper, and then those recommendations are presented to the regents. So yeah. And then lastly, very quick, I just want to remind you guys that we still have our scholarship reimbursement program going on. We like people to sign up. You get $499 twice a year, which isn't a lot, but it's significant in terms of registration fees and books and materials, and it can help perhaps cut down on some of the costs that you guys incur if you're thinking about, you're in school, thinking about being in school, or certification program or whatever. So please check out our website and apply. The current deadline is October 31st. Late applications are not accepted. So please apply on time. And I think that's all I have. Any questions? Yes.
Is the retirement percentage, is that a total for UCA&R, UC Davis, state office?
So I'll repeat the question for those that are online. The question was about the 37% of UC employees that are retiring, and it is for all throughout the UC system. Yeah. Yes.
For the scholarship, does the class we attend have to be during the period, or do we apply for it during one period?
So it's a reimbursement. So yeah, so you would have to have completed the course or paid for the registration fees or books or what have you, and then you would submit your receipts and or course grades and for reimbursement. So it's actually not a scholarship program, more so a reimbursement program, because it takes place after the fact. The reimbursement takes place after you've already paid for it, if that makes sense. So it doesn't necessarily have to be it can be in the future, but it has to have already taken place. And
Conference, can you use it to attend the conference?
yes, you can. Yes, you can. Are there? Yes.
How many are available each year?
So the question was how many scholarships are available each year, and it's 2. We have 2 cycles throughout the year, and they're up to $499 each time. So $998 per year is what each employee is eligible for. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Lachey. And congratulations to the third of you that won't have to listen to me in 5 more years. So the next item up is our 2nd Street update that we like to do monthly. Here's our kind of current members. Can you guys just say hi, raise your hand, stand up if you want to. So reach out to any of these people if you have any kind of thoughts on the building. We're here to make it a happier place, competing with Disneyland, hopefully. And Kim, thank you so much. Kim Lamar was the one who brought in our Halloween treats today. So thank you very much to Kim. She had no budget for that, so thank you. And to our Zoom partners, check your local vending machines, okay? So next up is Rod Broadhurst, and Rod's gonna give us a quick update. Thank you, Rod.
Hello, friends and enemies. I get to announce the fun stuff. We have the 2nd Street Committee is now in charge of the 2 remaining parties for the year, or get-togethers or potlucks. The first of which is our 2018 Halloween potluck will take place on the 31st, which is Halloween, which is a Wednesday. It's going to be actually both rooms this year. We had a big turnout when it was just the half last year, so we'll have both rooms to really spread out. 11:30 to 1, we'll have a sign-up sheet coming soon. Typical contest. We'll do costume, scary movies. We're going to do some sort of food contest. We're working out the logistics. Again, it's potluck. There's a lot of really great cooks and or cookie purchasers who work in the building. So we'll have a sign-up sheet coming around soon, probably through Google Docs. So keep an ear out for that. Speaking of Halloween, I'm also, oops, maybe? Dramatic pause. Is it going? There we go. So I run the slideshow in the break room. So, and I want to keep it fun and current. So if you have any pictures from last year's Halloween party, cute kiddos in costume or cool costumes from Halloweens of yesteryear, shoot them to me. My email, robbroadhurst@ucanr.edu.
Thank you very much, Rob. And just to our county or Zoom partners out there, you guys can, of course, do something similar at your locations. The Operation Committee is just a group of folks here in the building that help to represent the various departments, help to represent all people here at the building. So please do something similar at your locations. We encourage staff meetings. We encourage safety training. We encourage getting together. So please try to do similar things at your locations. Our next kind of topical area is new faces and new places and celebrate. So
if you have new employees you'd like to introduce today, wait until the mic gets to you. And okay, Maria.
Hi everyone. Andrea was hoping to be able to stay long enough to introduce Emily Delk. We are very excited to add her to our team. Emily comes to us with she comes to us with lots of development, fun development experience from Sutter and from her latest Fairy Tale Town. And if you're into theater, you may have seen her beautiful face at the Woodland Theater. She's done several plays, one of which was Hello Dolly.
So this is Sherry Cooper with Program Support. We have a new staff member who started this week, Shannon Martin. Shannon, say hi to everybody. So Shannon, I know they love this, especially when they're trying to figure out where the bathrooms are. So Shannon comes from PG&E, and she has over 13 years of event experience. So we're thrilled to have her part of our team. Anyone else? Oh, behind me.
I'm Jim Downing. I'm the Director of Publishing, and I'd like to introduce Lucian Crowder, who is our new writer and editor in the publishing group. Lucian comes to us with 11 years experience in journal editing and writing, and before that he was with magazines and newspapers. He has already established himself as a very quick and extremely skilled writer. He's got a great voice, and I'm delighted to have him on our team.
So welcome everyone. We also are here to celebrate. Anyone want to talk about a birthday in September?
Me.
David Alamillo. Jessica Batista. Happy birthday. Okay. Patricia Glass, Monday. Congratulations. Birthdays are a big thing.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Maybe. There we go. Excellent. So I was asked to do a quick little shout out to a fellow theater nerd in the building. Let's see. So we have an aspiring actress working with us at UC A&R Davis. She's been performing since the age of 4. Her first role was when she was 8 years old in a show called Meet Me in St. Louis. She's been the Wicked Witch in Wizard of Oz. She's been in Hairspray. She's Annie Sullivan in The Miracle Worker and the mother from A Christmas Story, which is the bottom right with the leg lamp. Any guesses? I think people already know. She usually performs at Woodland Opera House with Emily Delk, our new hire. Congratulations and hello to our HR generalist, Patricia Glass. Kindred spirit.
We have talent here in this building, I'm telling you. So next up we have David Alamillo, surprise, doing earthquake and evacuation.
This is not the talent portion, by the way. Okay, so the last thing we have up today is, of course, our safety training, and they've given me about 10 minutes. So, all right, let's get to it. So traditionally, every year in October, we hold our earthquake and evacuation event. And so, of course, we'll do that again this year. But I wanted to get in front of you this month to talk about all the things we'll be doing next month. So if you guys remember from years past, the earthquake and evacuation event is always on the third Thursday in October, and they correlate the date and the time. So it'll happen on October 18th at 10:18 a.m. And as a reminder, anyone who is in the building, whether you're on a phone call, in a meeting, you have guests, you're Sherry Cooper, doesn't matter who you are, you need to, okay, that was at a different building, so. And there wasn't a fire alarm there, so she could ignore me. But this time, I'm just picking on you, Sherry. Thank you for letting me. So please evacuate the building. The fire alarm is extremely loud. We do have earplugs. If anyone wants to come see me in advance of that event, I can give you a set of earplugs that you can put in, not when I'm announcing things, but after, when the fire alarm goes off. So why do we do this? Of course, it's an opportunity to practice earthquake safety. It happens throughout California. The schools do it. There's radio broadcasts. They try to get millions of people doing this at the same time. It gives us a chance to remember to review our safety plans, to remember that when we come in new areas, we should always look around and find two ways out. Someone's leaving now, so always find two ways out. Just playing again. And be aware of your surroundings, look at what might fall on you, what might kind of prevent you from getting out, things like that. It gives us a chance to practice our fire drill and actually evacuate the building. So we pull our alarm and make sure all those systems are working and that everyone knows the procedure. And then also, just as a reminder, the planning that we do now will determine how well we can kind of recover or survive. So this used to say for the first like 72 hours, 3 days, they're really pushing that now to 5 days, a week, that they expect FEMA, local emergency services, whatever that is, expect you folks to be able to take care of yourself and your own needs without having to rely on them for help. So having things like we've talked about in the past, emergency supplies at home, being prepared, having some canned goods, things in your pantry, whatever that is, water. They want you to be able to prepare to care for yourself for those first 5 days so that these emergency responders can really focus on those people that are really in dire straits, that are really in need. Okay, so as far as earthquake safety, it's the traditional, what you learned in school, I can't even speak. It's the drop, cover, and hold. It's not the stop, drop, and roll. That's fire, right? And this isn't the like old, what is it, 70s or 50s, whatever, when kind of protect from the nuclear blast and everything that under your desk. I don't know how that was going to help you. But for earthquake safety, you want to drop pretty much wherever you are. So if I was here and the earth really started shaking now, I shouldn't necessarily be trying to run outside. I shouldn't be trying to kind of cross the room. I really want to kind of get down somewhat where I am. If I need to move because things might be falling near me or on me, I kind of want to be on the ground somewhat crawling to where I need to go, because really the injuries that happen during earthquakes happen from trips and falls while the ground's shaking, or from stepping in or on things after everything's kind of fallen. So have a pair of slippers by your bed at night. I don't know if you're worried about that kind of thing. We're not really in super heavy earthquake country here, but throughout the state, there's definitely a lot of threats and hazards. So again, kind of drop, protect your bodily organs, your head and neck, so it's kind of a crouched safety position, like a fetal position almost, protecting those vital organs and places. And then if you are under a shelter or a table, just kind of hold on to that and kind of wait out the shaking. And when everything eventually stops, that's when you want to get out. Old wives' tales, whatever you want to call those, urban legends. Don't get into a doorway. They're not any safer than any other part of the building. They're not stronger. Don't run outside. You want to really just wait for the shaking to stop. And the so-called triangle of life is something that's talked about where, you know, this TV might fall against this podium and I could maybe be in this little triangle of life here that I'd be protected. Don't be looking to try to find voids or spaces to try to hide in. Just wait it out and get the heck out. So again, these are all things I just talked about. Just kind of stay where you are. And when you go to new places, evaluate and look around your surroundings. So evacuate. In this building, and really we recommend for all locations, if there is ever a fire alarm, we want you to evacuate the building. There's been, I think, one time in the past where the alarm sounded and people were maybe told it was okay to stay or it was a false alarm or something like that. Don't trust that necessarily. If you hear the alarm, evacuate, especially for folks here in the back of the building. You're not going to hear, you know, red at the front kind of saying, oops, I pushed the wrong button or something like that. So just go ahead and get out. Yes, Sherry. Sherry was the only one who left that day. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Yeah. When you guys are right back here ready to go, right? So yeah, please, thank you. Just get on out. So anytime the alarm sounds, please evacuate. The first thing to kind of do is just very quickly look around you. Do you see the hazard? Because that's going to tell you why the alarm was maybe pulled and where you might want to go. If there's a threat in front of you, you want to go a different way. You can very quickly grab things like your keys, your cell phone. If you've got a go bag that Mark really promotes under your desk, something like that, you can grab those things that are in immediate quick reach and get out, because there is a chance technically that you won't be able to come back in the building for a while. So you might need some of those things to get away or get out of here eventually if we all are released. But don't spend extra time finding those things. Have them close by and ready to go. Evacuate the building via the nearest exit. Our assembly area is still across the street in front of the Davis Musical Theater Company. So right across Pena here. There's no crosswalk, so we normally have one of our safety contacts that have like the orange vests kind of just watch for traffic. We don't stop traffic, we're not crossing guards, but we help to just kind of monitor and help people cross safely. You'll want to line up by your department and don't leave until you're released and checked in for roll call. And so just very quickly, some of these names here are the folks that are either your primary or secondary contact for your unit. So all units have like a safety representative. This person is a liaison with our department. They help us with things like this evacuation event. They will help to account for their own department for all of you folks. And then also they help us with things like identifying safety hazards in your various areas or units. If there's like a near miss, like if you noticed earlier in those pictures from South Coast, Michelle came back and Shay came back and told us about all those tripping hazards that I'm sure you saw, Mark and Brian. I'm just playing, but did you guys see those tripping hazards in that picture? Wow. There was like cords everywhere. I was flipping out. So, but things like that, right? A near miss or a potential hazard, we want to know about those things before someone gets hurt. So if you see those things, report them to your folks or report them to us. But these are people who have volunteered out of the goodwill of their own heart to kind of help account for you folks in these emergencies. I'm gonna send out an email to all the managers and directors just to confirm this list and update it. And then also if your name's on this list, I'm gonna invite you to like a 30-minute meeting in early October where we can go over all of this in more detail, okay? And get out some new vests and whistles and things. Yes, Melissa. Thank you. So the question is, am I going to send out an email asking folks to update their emergency contact lists? So to all of our Zoom partners, we have on our risk and safety website an emergency fire and prevention plan that has a contact list, a roll call list in it. But you can use that fire plan and that roll call list to account for your people when you have evacuations. And we heavily recommend also an employee contact list that we have available. And that's where we gather all of your folks' kind of emergency information and secondary contacts. And that's really because if something ever happens, it's really difficult to maybe, no offense anyone, but it's difficult to go through various channels, HR, UC, whatever that is, to kind of get people's phone numbers, to find all that out. So if we have them readily available, we can use those to communicate to people. So it's all voluntary, but we heavily recommend that you turn that stuff in. So to answer the question, what I'm going to do that day is we'll have hand cut out little forms that you can, while you're signing in over there, while you're taking your roll call, you can update your emergency contact information in person over there. But we, yeah. Yeah, you can collect them. So what I would hope is that the safety coordinator, the safety contact person, would gather those for their unit and then send them to me so that I can kind of compile. Perfect. Yeah, so you can, so you can send that to me and I'll compile those for the building. Yeah. Okay. So these are all the various ways out of this building. If you're on the first floor, there are 8 actual exits or doors you can get out of, including the coast and bay room there. If you are upstairs, there are no doors you can get out of. So come downstairs and get out of the building. I always joke, but if you ever have to make an exit, you can make an exit. Use the butt of a fire extinguisher, knock down a cubicle wall, it'd be fun. Break a window, I always advise, things like that. But if you need to get out of the building, please get out of the building, find a way to do so. And just a reminder for anyone who is on the second floor, we have an evacuation chair that we train on and can use if you need help down. And also no using the elevator during emergencies or fire drills. So you have to use the stairs. If you're not comfortable with that necessarily, then on this day, I advise you come downstairs at 10:15 and then you'll be downstairs when the alarm goes off and you can evacuate. Okay, and then if you do have any functional needs, please check in and let us know. Again, that's voluntary, but we can help get you down. We can help you out, so let us know. Once you're out of the building, our assembly point is again across the street here at Pena and, or across Pena in front of the Davis Musical Theater Company. We just line up in their parking lot mainly. That building is not used during daytime hours, so it's typically pretty safe. So again, I advise, please mark your calendars, be aware of this event. I will be sending out collaborative tools notices. I will be sending out all of the procedures. We'll have some of these running on the monitor screens throughout the building. So trust me, it's gonna be in your face, but just be reminded that it is happening October 18th, no matter who's here or what, you gotta play. So our procedures that day, very quickly, we start with the earthquake drill. It's 1 minute. So I'll blast the old soccer horn 3 times. And then for 1 minute, I'll broadcast the earthquake drill. Now to do that lately, we've been using the voice over internet protocol or the VoIP phones. And I can broadcast through those speakers. So for our county offices and Zoom locations, if you have those VoIP phone systems, David Hatter helped me and I can help you guys. Yeah, David, that's you. I can help you guys learn to kind of set up a group and you can broadcast or blast out a message. It's like a PA system essentially. So we'll use that this year. And then after that 1 minute of earthquake practicing, I'll pull the fire alarm and like you would any other time when you hear the noise, just evacuate out to the building and go line up with your folks. So pretty simple. When you hear the alarm, find a safe way out. If your exit's blocked, go find another one. And find, oh, John Sims, find your orange vest safety person and follow them or just get out. And they'll help you across the street and they'll help you to line up by department, look for someone holding up a clipboard and go ahead and be accounted for. And then you'll return safely back to work. Okay, so I'll get all that information out, but that's it. So any questions? No? Thank you everyone so much for coming. You're free.